Tonight I'm super excited to have this brother on the show, someone that I've known for a while on Facebook. We've never
Yeah.
met. This is our first time meeting. Eliseo Way, welcome to the show.
Hey, I appreciate it, bruh. Appreciate having me on. I don't ever take it lightly when I get asked to do, a show or interview or be a guest on a podcast or a live stream. I don't take it lightly because, there's a million other people you could have asked to be on the show, but you asked me, so
Yeah.
it makes me feel good that you're just thinking about it, brother. That's all.
Well, I tell you, man, we've been Facebook friends for years. And one beautiful thing about Facebook as a
Yeah.
platform is that it allows you to have relationships with people, not in so much of a physical form, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, but on the internet world. And you get to watch other people's growth and be inspired,
Yeah.
by their progress. And, you know what I'm saying? And I do have to say that I'm inviting people to do the show that I want to give flowers to while they're here. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
People I actually look up to, you know.
Wow.
So,
Well, that means a
and for
lot,
a lot
brother.
of reasons, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we have. I was looking at our Facebook. We have 202 mutual friends. you
Oh,
know what I'm
nice.
saying?
Nice.
So 6 degrees of separation. I was just
Yeah.
looking, and just to name a couple, because a lot of them are music related. But Ghost, we both know Ghost.
That's how I came into your world. I believe your son or somebody does music, and they were doing a lot of Ghost was doing a lot of videos for that
Yeah.
individual. I don't know if it was your son or your nephew or a
Well,
friend.
it's my son. I own South Coast Records. I have a label. So I had
Yes.
Diamond Royalty. My son's
Yes.
name is Some Kosher Yuppie.
Yeah, Yuppie, yep.
About 5 or 6 different artists. Ghost probably shot 20 videos for us, man.
Man, so yeah, and Ghost is the goat. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And I remember when he started first working with y'all, he would show me Yuppie's videos and the other young lady Diamond, I believe. And,
Diamond Royalty, yeah.
yeah, they were all next level. Just before but Ghost always does stuff before his time type stuff. So just to see what he's been able to do for you guys, and now to see his growth. And
Yeah.
like I said, that was my first introduction to you guys. So through Ghost. So shout out to Ghost.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Ghost. Bryson Miller was shooting. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember Bryson. Of course. Yeah, he's in
Bryce
Cali
Miller.
now.
Yeah, he's in
Bryce
Cali.
Miller. Yeah.
Well, when he moved, I was like, man, what am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? And Ghost was doing videos for, I think, Slim Goody or somebody at the time.
Yeah, I think you did one or two for Slim. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so we hooked up, man. And the beautiful thing about him, this is back when he was really before he started to, get bigger. And I told him, man, I said, you got it. You just got to stay grinding, man. Stay
Yeah.
grinding.
This when he was dubbed Dollar.
Yeah. Hey, the funny thing about, I know I'm here to interview you, but the funny thing about the Ghost situation, I always used to tell him, man, as soon as you quit that job where you have to do this, you're going to
Yeah.
blow up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And now he don't even return my phone calls. So.
That's Ghost.
That's
That's the
Ghost.
homie. Yeah, man. Shout out to him.
Yeah, man, most definitely, man. But yeah, man, DJ Slick, Jesse Jazz, a lot of these brothers, man, that, I've lived in Orlando now for, 21 years going
Wow.
on.
Okay.
That 21 creeped up real quick.
Yeah.
And, when
So you moved here in the year I was graduating in 2000. You moved here.
Okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
moved here
yeah.
in February of 2000. Next
Wow.
month marks 21 years. Me and my son moved down here, just us. Didn't know anybody.
Wow.
I just said I want to move to Florida, man. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And single father, but you look back and those 20 years go so fast, and it's like, damn, I have some relationships with people for 10, 15, 17, 20 years.
Wow.
And it's crazy, man. I'm getting old.
Yeah, no, we getting old. I'm right up there with you, brother. I think we right up there. Yeah, how old are you? I'm 38.
I'm 51, man.
Oh wow, I didn't think you were that old, man. You have
Yeah.
a youthful vibe to you, brother.
Thanks, bro.
Youthful
Thanks.
vibe. Yeah, I would have said 44, 45.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that.
But I'll take
The
it.
music keeps me young, man. It always has. I've been doing music for 35 years.
Wow.
You know what I'm
what's up.
saying? I was on tour back in the early 90s with Naughty by Nature, Tupac, Too Short, acts like that.
Oh wow.
And I know about your story too, you know what I'm saying, to a
Yeah.
degree that,
A
you've
little
been
bit,
out there.
yeah.
But
I was never on that level. No, not a by nature level, nothing like
well,
that.
it's just they didn't know who I was. You know what I'm saying? I just opened up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, that's what's up.
But at the end of the day, it was I could look back and say I made it. People's definition of success is different.
Absolutely.
My definition is great memories. And learning and having that
Wow.
experience, and I had fun with it, man. I really did.
Wow. Well, that's what's up. I didn't know that about you, so now I know,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
I,
yeah, man. So I'm glad we got to chop it up, man. The music has been. I've always had a studio in my house. And my brother, he's an artist on the. They own their own studio. Him and Stupid Genius. Stupid Genius,
oh, okay.
hot producer. And
Dope.
Old Rap Studios. They got their thing going on down there.
Nice.
So we're not here to talk about everybody. We're here to talk to you, my brother.
Okay. Let's talk.
And I noticed, man, because I started a podcast. It's my second season, and I did, I think, 14 episodes or whatever in the first season.
Okay.
And I seen what you got going on. I'm like, man, how did he get those graphics? What did he do? Man, this YouTube thing, because
Yeah.
I've got IT. I got an IT guy.
Okay.
He's computer smart. I don't know a whole lot
Nice.
about it. But talk to tell my viewers that don't already
Okay.
know you. Tell them who you are and
Yeah.
what you got going on.
Man, I'm so bad with bios and talking about myself. I be trying not to talk about myself,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I might do this all wrong because I never really hear people talk about this type of stuff when they introduce themselves. But if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. So
There you go.
yeah, my name's Eliseo Way. Born and raised in Orlando, Florida. I'm 38 years old. Now I'm actually married. I have a beautiful wife. I have 3 children, 2 daughters, 1 son. Fairly new father. Like my oldest is 7, my youngest is 2. So as you see,
Okay.
I took my 20s to do all the reckless stuff.
There you go.
And I remember saying, I said, man, when I get 30, I'm gonna go ahead and do the right thing and settle down and get married
Right.
and have children. So if anybody knows about my story, with Trill, just being one of their main producers and one of their main songwriters, I knew that I was going to dedicate my 20s to music,
Yes.
and whatever the success or lack thereof that comes from that, I was going to be okay with it. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
then take 30s to just elevate and mature and maturate, and get on another level maturity wise. So,
Yes, sir.
who Eliseo is, I'm still a music producer, at heart by trade. If there was one thing that I could do until I die, and whether I get paid for it or not, it would be make beats. That's just what I'd love to do. That's who I am.
Yeah.
And write songs and do hooks. I would love to just do that to make a living. But as you know, sometimes the cards don't lay out that way, right?
It's a tough racket.
It can be tough,
Yeah.
So now that I gotta bring the rice and beans home to little mouths.
Yes.
Now I transitioned. Now I'm doing health insurance and life insurance. That's kind of like the daytime grind,
Right.
Because my mom has been doing that. I've seen my mom make $1 million selling insurance.
Yeah.
She told me, when I was graduating high school, she said, if you don't want to go to college, because I didn't want to go to college, she said, son, that's okay if you don't want to go to college. She said, but what you need to do is go get a sales gig, because with a sales gig, you don't need a degree, you don't need anything. You just need to know how to sell.
That's right.
And I didn't take her advice on that. I said, no, I want to be in a studio all that. I want to just make these beats. But if I could go back, right, I would go get a sales gig, because the sales gigs is what give you the leverage to be able to make your own schedule, travel, and all the companies care about is are you selling, right?
Yes.
So I learned that lesson 20 years too late. Now I'm in insurance. I have the leverage. I can have the freedom to make my own schedule as long as I sell what I need to sell. I work for myself. But like I said, I had a full scholarship out of high school. I had a full scholarship to college for music. I turned those scholarships down because I wanted to be a music producer.
Right.
And I wanted to be a rapper. So looking back on my life, on paper, I made a lot of mistakes. On paper, it looks bad on paper, but I wouldn't take none of that back. I learned a lot of lessons. I met a lot of great people. I have some of my friends who graduated college, and they still don't have the job they want. And they say, Alicia, I wish I could have did what you did. You traveled for 10 years of your life up and down the East Coast, just performing, meeting great people. So
Right.
I wouldn't trade none of those memories for nothing. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm just blessed I'm still here. I have friends like Beto who passed away, and so many other, Traffic who's passed away, like
Mm.
other rapper friends who are gone now. They don't
Yeah.
they're not here no more. R.I.P. to them,
Yes,
and so
sir.
many other people. So I'm just grateful to still be here. You know what I'm saying, and be
Yeah.
able to now take my life from this point and keep making better decisions. So I know that was a long answer,
No,
but
man. That's
that's who I am.
that's why I invited you, man, because I think people need to hear. It's hard to talk. A humble person, it's hard to talk about themselves, but I think it's important because there's lots of little people out there, man, that need inspiration. You understand? And I feel one of the reasons why I started the show is that this is my way to contribute to a younger generation or anyone that needs inspiration or
Yeah.
motivation or the blueprint. I talk about the blueprint all the time. It's funny you talk about sales. There's one thing I've always been told, and I tell people because I'm in sales as well, is that a true salesperson will never go hungry.
Wow. Yes.
And sales has allowed me to follow my passions in life and do the things that I really want to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It gave me the leverage, like you said, to start new businesses. I got a clothing line now, a lingerie company that I'm
Wow.
developing, but if it wasn't for sales, those things probably wouldn't have been possible. I was
Yeah, and
like you.
I remember talking to Ghost, and I was like, man, I was talking about you guys because you guys were getting so many videos done. I said, how are these guys paying for all these videos? Because I couldn't even afford to pay Ghost that much.
Right.
And he was saying, well, the dude who's funding everything, he's in the sales. So I guess that was you at that time.
That was me. Yeah, yeah. It's funny because my past life, I was a general manager at restaurants for Darden and different companies for like
Oh, wow.
15 years.
Wow.
And it's $100,000 a year, but that's no money really when you're giving
Yeah.
70 hours of your life away.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got out of it. When I got out of the restaurant business, I took a sales job, commission only, on a telephone.
Wow.
And it's funny because 12 years later, me and my partner, we own the company that we started working for. So you know what I'm
Wow.
saying? And so it's a pretty cool story. But at the end of the day, I knew that I was capable of more than a salary position, and a lot of people would
Absolutely.
would never give up $100,000 a year for
No.
commission only.
No.
You got to believe in yourself, and you got to jump in there. My life would have been completely different if I hadn't. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, but
That's
kudos to you, man. It's never too late. You said it was too never. It's never too late, man. I started.
yeah.
I think when I was doing touring and all of that, I finally settled down at about 26, I think, and I got in deep into the restaurant thing, and
Wow.
start taking life a little more serious, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
that's crazy. I remember my stepdad; he was a contractor, and when Darton, they were acquiring a bunch of different restaurants. Isn't that like Olive Garden and Macaroni Grill and all those restaurants?
well, I think Olive Garden for sure. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if they own macaroni, but I worked for Smoky Bones.
Smoking Bones. I know that's one of them.
Red Lobster was one of
Red
them.
Lobster. That's one of them. That's why you always see a Red Lobster and a Olive Garden right next to each
Yeah,
other. So,
and
yeah,
Seasons 52. But they sold a few and bought a few.
yeah, and
I
bought
don't
it. Yeah.
know what they own now.
Yeah, well, my stepdad was a contractor, so he had got a Darton contract, and he would literally just travel the country and rebuild and remodel those restaurants. So that's how I even know about those. So
Yeah,
they were cutting checks though, man. So you had a good gig, brother.
it was a good gig. I started off as a server because when I was touring, I needed a job that was flexible with my schedule.
Yeah, yes,
And once that slowed up, I was really good at serving, and I became a manager. Then I became a general manager, and just followed
wow,
that. I was a corporate trainer for Don Pablo's, where I just traveled around and trained servers.
wow.
And I just lived out of a suitcase. And
Yeah, no,
it was,
but it's an honest living. To be
yeah,
honest with you, and I know we kind of have parallel kind of trajectories,
yeah,
from the music into sales. But the one thing I'm super passionate about as I meet new artists and I see them struggling and I see their girls getting mad at them and I see them having kids and they can't provide. The first thing I tell them is, look, bro, if you want to do this music, right? If you want to be a producer, entertainer, anything, I'm gonna give you the same advice my mom gave me. Find a sales gig, dedicate about 20 hours a week to
mm,
that sales gig, and master your craft, master your pitch, master everything that you can master
yes,
on the phones or whatever, knocking doors, and you can do more. You can make more income in 20 hours, right?
yeah,
For that sales gig then you can make in like 100 hours on an hourly basis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But with that little nugget, you can then fund your career, fund your music or whatever you want to do.
Yes.
And that's just something that I don't see a lot of younger artists getting into. I'm a big preacher on, man, get into some type of sales, man. I don't care if you're selling Kirby's doors door to
Yeah.
door. It would still, you can scale that and grow that, and you can actually get paid what you're worth versus getting paid an hourly rate and getting ripped off. So absolutely.
That's a gem right there, man. Because I know a few artists that are actually in sales, and that's how they're doing it. You know, they're shooting their video because it costs a lot of money to break an artist.
It does.
Everything's independent. You know,
Everything.
even when I owned, the record label, we were really still independent. I was just more like an investor. The way it was
Yeah.
structured on contracts
Yeah.
was very artist friendly because I am an artist.
Yeah.
I never really got into it to make a whole bunch of money. I really got
Wow.
into it to help artists out,
Man,
and
man, you should have signed me 20 years ago.
I still had a passion for music, but at the time
Yeah.
I figured, you know what, I can't. I'm too old to do it. You
Yeah.
know, and the crazy thing about it, I have put more music out in the last 3 years than I ever had in my whole career.
Wow.
Last year I put out 3 albums, 45 songs worth of music.
Wow.
And
That's
this
crazy.
year I'm slated to do 4 albums.
Wow.
Now I don't have any of the artists anymore. I ramped that down because eventually it does become a money thing where, hey, if
Yeah.
I'm not getting money coming in, I just got to make a smart
Absolutely.
business. But for me, it's all about the passion of it, and I don't charge. Everything is free for my music. You know, if you like it, great. You know what I'm saying? Download it. You
Yeah.
know, I have zero interest in the business side of it anymore.
Wow.
Which makes it fun again. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's
so-
absolutely true. When you don't have an expectation on that side of it, you can truly just focus on the art, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for
so
sure.
who you rocking with now? Just Yuppie and Diamond, or
Well, no, I mean, no one's signed. I mean, Yuppie's my son, so he's always going to be able to do what he needs. I let Diamond out of her contract. You know, I just
wow.
and she's like a daughter to me.
yeah, yeah.
I love her to death. She's doing well for herself.
That's
but
good.
but it also came down to a point where I wasn't able to do my job effectively. I
Yeah.
know what it takes. I was, you're talking back late 80s, early 90s. There was no internet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand the hustle, the 7 nights in the clubs, the things that you have to do. And I didn't have time to properly promote them. And at the time, although she had a big fan base, didn't have the true understanding of how to market herself as an artist. So, I let her out of her contract because I wanted to see the best for her. And I didn't think I
Yeah.
could give her that,
Wow. Well, that's real. Like, that's OG of you, man, right there.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't about the money. And Yuppie's, like I said, Yuppie's my son. He's with me in my business, and he's in sales now. And you know what I'm
Nice.
saying? So, like he said, he's in sales. My son's 30, man. So,
That's what's up.
I have 2 beautiful grandchildren, and I have an empty house now, man. They're all out the roofs.
What is your sales bit like? What is it? I'm interested.
Just vacations and things like timeshare stuff.
Oh
Yeah,
man, yeah.
yeah.
You rolling in the dough then, especially
Oh,
in this market. That's such a smart business to get into.
Yeah,
So shout out to you.
just like any sales thing, it's up or down. But the beautiful
Yeah.
thing about it is, like I said, it allows me to do what I want to do.
Wow.
And one thing that I tried with this show is, but that's why I talk about the blueprint on the Wake Your Ass Up show. Well, the Wake Your Ass Up part is just to really, I want to inspire. Let's get motivated. Let's get off the couch. A lot of kids, it's not even that they're lazy. It's not this. They don't know, man. They don't
Misguided.
know.
They
They
don't have a
have
direction.
no idea which
Yeah.
way to go. And so I'm not an activist in the sense of marching and doing that kind of thing. My way to contribute to the cause is to educate as much as I can and to teach that blueprint because,
Yeah.
multiple streams of income and, teach about stocks if they need to learn that. How do you start an LLC? Just the simple things that people just don't know. I was always thought that you need a whole bunch of money to do this or that, and you really don't to start a company,
You
And
don't, no.
so those are the things that I'm teaching, and I've seen your progression in terms of that. Now you have a show that you just start developing. You want to care to talk about that a little bit?
It's literally unfolding as I do it. It's one of those just jump out there and do it and see where it goes type thing. So I have a YouTube channel, and it's called Content Ecosystem. Content Ecosystem is all about, we're all content creators, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you know it or not, we're all content creators, right? So it's all about how can I create this content, but at the same time, how can I do it in a way to where I can now capitalize on my intellectual property? So I'm big on, the knowledge that we have. You're a very passionate brother. You have a lot of knowledge. Obviously, you have successful companies. You run a label. So it's now about, of course, we want to, the game is what they say, sold, not told.
Yeah.
So of course we want to give this game away, but how can we give it away in a way that now this, our intellectual property, now ecosystems, it comes back to us, so we can capitalize on that, so we can then begin to perpetuate and make even more business sense and more business moves that can then move our message to more people. See,
Yeah.
the thing I had to learn was, because I'm kind of like you, I'm from the hood, right? So
Yeah.
I had a very negative connotation with money, and what I meant by that is this, the people you saw with money were the guys getting, robbed, or killed over that money.
Yeah.
So I grew up with a stigma, like, I don't even, if that's what it is, I don't even really want the money. You know what I'm saying? I don't want the fame. And that's kind of where I maybe Trill kind of fell off, because we were so anti-flashy. We were so anti-money. We were so anti all that rapper stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So, even now, so I had to kind of shake that stigma, to be like, I actually do want to be successful and be prosperous, and do it in a way that it's not necessarily flashy, but it's necessary, so we can continue to do more of what we want to do. So I know
Yes.
that's a long way around it, but
No,
that's the
man.
brand content ecosystem. It's all about creating content and creating an ecosystem, so we can now circulate that content in a way to where we can get paid, and then begin to now mentor or teach or train or just facilitate, like kind of like what you do, younger entrepreneurs, and bring them up in the ranks in the
Right.
same fashion. So that's the channel. The show more specifically is called Creators on the Come Up, and I basically highlight people kind of like you, how you said,
Yeah.
this person inspired me, or I see what they're doing. I'm just kind of highlighting those type of people who I feel like I'm learning something from, or maybe my audience can learn something from. I just highlight them. Sometimes I do panels. I would love to have you on the panel.
Sure,
Speak
man.
on from the like a business owner standpoint,
Yeah.
a creative, transitioning into a business owner. I believe that that's a bridge that we don't talk about a lot. The creative, we're all creative, but then how do we translate from the creative to the business owner? How
Right.
do we do that? So I think a lot of times, especially black and brown creatives, we struggle with that piece, because we're creative by nature. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But we're not
Right.
entrepreneurs by nature. We're not born with the business sense. And so, like, how can we make that learning curve a little bit shorter for the next creative to business owner, or creative to entrepreneur? And so many of our creative, younger counterparts, they're out here dying. They're struggling. They're going to
Amen.
prison. They're killing. They're murdering. They're doing all this stuff because, like you said, they got the talent. They just don't have the business sense to put the energy, instead of putting the energy into selling dope. How about you start a call center? You know what I'm saying? How about you, instead of robbing? How about you start a clothing line like you?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we do that? So I think that's kind of where my heart is and my mindset is.
That's beautiful, man. The restaurant business taught me how to be a businessman, and it was a
Wow.
40-year-old white Jewish man that took me under his wing and taught me game and business, how to make numbers make sense.
Wow.
I was fortunate enough to be a general manager at 24 of my first restaurant.
Wow.
And the restaurant brought in about $150,000 a week. I had about 100 employees at 24. And
Man.
I learned the hard way, because I was very skilled at what I did, but I didn't have the people skill down yet, So
Yeah.
I was a bull in the china shop.
He's a little rough around the edges, huh?
Yeah, so this guy was like Mr. Miyagi, because, it's like my whole staff pretty much just laid down on me. All right, let's watch you fail. And that's where I
Wow.
had to learn, man, it's really about people. It's
Yeah.
never about titles. It's never about any of those things. And, I guess he's seen something in me, man. He's seen something in me. He didn't have to do it, but he just spent extra time with me, man, and developed the mental and how
Wow.
to relate to people.
Wow.
And how he said, you work for them. They don't work for you. And if you come to work with that mindset and understand, okay, I'll make an example. If you leave right now and walk out the street, will this restaurant still run?
Mm.
Well, yeah, everybody's in position. Okay.
Mm.
Well, if all of these folks left the restaurant, will the restaurant still run?
Mm.
I'm like, nah. He said, well, who works for who?
Mm.
You know?
Bam.
And
Wow.
I carry that with me my whole life, man. And
Man,
now
that's so
everything,
important.
and it helped me in the leadership sense because now everything is about staff. Everything is about the people that I work with. Everything is about my relationships. And as
Yes.
you learn how to nurture those, relationships, it all comes back to you, man,
Yeah.
And that's just a gem. And another thing you said about instead of doing the dope thing, do this. Some of these kids don't realize that they're already structuring a business selling dope. They don't realize that they are a CEO right now and they have the lieutenants are executives but you can use that same structure and that same mindset to start any company,
Wow. Yeah.
you know?
So how do you, and I think we're on the same,
Yeah.
wave with that because it's so true. So how do then you take that mindset, right, and then you just transfer it over to a young brother who is out there basically doing every entrepreneurial move, right? They're doing every businessman move. They're just doing it illegally. How do we now transfer that energy and that effort over to a legal structure? So I think when it comes down to that, that is the gifting in what you and I and maybe other brothers have is being able to relay that message to them
Yes.
and be like, hey, listen, I love how you said it. You're already a business owner. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
You're already a general manager, already a coach, and a motivational speaker. You're already these positive, super positive things. You just need to get in the right arena. So I love
Exactly.
that, bro. That's
Exactly.
dope.
And it's facts. I think it takes a lot more conversations. I'm
Yeah.
so happy. There was a lot of COVID obviously is a horrible thing, but it also put us on alert, and it also changed things that I think a lot of positive things came out of it. One thing is podcasts. There's a lot more podcasts, and there's a lot more people talking about stuff.
Yes.
And I think that's where it starts. Having conversations, people seeing videos with you and I talking, and
Yeah.
saying, hey, there is another way. I think you
Yeah.
need a lot more of that.
Oh,
Our responsibilities as OGs,
yes.
it's our responsibility to keep teaching. And I know I was hard-headed. I'm sure you was hard-headed when you was young too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We understand that you're
Yeah.
hard-headed.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we have to stop because you're hard-headed, because there's going to be at least maybe 2 out of those 10 that's
Yeah.
going to pay attention.
Man, listen, I don't even want to kill your hard-headedness. I want you to keep that because you're going to
Yes.
need that as a business owner.
Yeah.
You're going to need that as an entrepreneur when, your staff is folding, stocks are folding, money is low. You're going to need to be hard-headed to be like, but I'm finna go back to work. I'm finna do it
Yes.
again.
You're right.
So we need you to keep that energy. We just need you to channel it in a positive
Channel
way.
it differently. That's it,
I, I,
man.
I love what you said about the OG who looked out for you, and I see that as a reoccurring theme. You said you had a man who kind of opened up your eyes and said,
Yeah.
kind of gave you those parallels that you kind of made you think. And I see that so much with like successful people like you and I. We were fortunate enough to have this one person in our life,
Yeah.
maybe 2 or maybe 3,
Yeah.
that really set us down and really opened our minds, right? And I believe you and I, we have that responsibility to do the same exact thing to the next cats that are coming
Yes.
up. As much as we like, man, they ain't gonna feel me, or they gonna think I'm corny, or they ain't gonna hear what I'm saying. It don't matter what we think they may say or feel. We still have an obligation to be like, look, bro, let me put you on, or let me show you this, let me show you that. And
Yeah.
believe it or not, when we plant those seeds and we water those seeds, they do grow and they manifest maybe years down the road. But guess what? Somebody's gonna be saying, hey man, talking about you, man. There's this OG, man. I don't know why he felt the need to do it, but he just
Yeah.
put me on so much game and he
Yeah.
just helped me out. And you don't even know what type of legacy you're helping with him by bringing up his family and his children. And it's like a residual effect. So, man, just keep what you're doing, man. It's
Most
powerful.
definitely, man. Thank you. And the same to you. I since the 12 years that I've been doing what I'm doing, my partner and I've had probably 6 or 7 past employees that actually own their own business now.
Wow.
Because I preach it all the time.
Wow.
And even having employees like, I don't want you to stay here forever. Why should you stay here and live my vision? What's your vision?
Bam.
I can, and don't take it the wrong way. I can replace you with someone else.
Absolutely.
I want you to go be who you are.
Absolutely.
And the one quick story is there's a young lady, and I say her name because she's a Facebook friend. Her name is Flo, and she worked with me for a good chunk of that 12 years, probably 10, almost 11 of those years.
Wow.
And she was a good worker, a good salesperson, but you could tell she wasn't happy. The only reason she stayed is because we have such a family feel in my office that
That's what's up.
you want to be there.
Yeah.
And we pretty much just sit down like, listen, if you don't go do what you want to do with your life, you're not going to be
Wow.
happy.
Wow.
And she went to school to do nail or to do hair and to do skin and do eyeliner and all that. Has her own business, has her own line of products now.
Wow.
I just seen her posted just a couple of days on Facebook. She's only been gone like about a year, and she's already developed her own line of beauty supplies.
Man, that's amazing.
But
yeah.
it's funny because you have to sometimes the power of broke. I'm sure you probably either read the book or heard about it, or Damon Johns or Draymond Johns or whatever, the owner of FUBU.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you have to get it, you're gonna work a lot better. You're gonna be a lot more efficient. You're gonna save money.
Wow.
Having too much money is a problem sometimes because you want to just throw money at a problem.
Yeah. Wow.
And her back was against the wall, and it's been a year, man, and she's happy. She looks beautiful. Has her own business popping, her own little office to doing the eyebrows and all of that shit. Man. Man, I applaud her for it, man, because. And those kind of things for me, it makes, man, I can't take credit for the work that she did.
Yeah.
But maybe it was one or two conversations that we had that maybe
Absolutely.
sparked it.
Absolutely, without a doubt, man. I think one thing that I know that younger brothers and sisters, the thing that they don't see or they don't get is the example piece. So you can tell me all day, hey, go start this business or do better or stop selling dope. You can tell me all day these things.
Yeah.
But by her, you said she worked with you for 10 years.
Yeah.
She's seen you come in the office every day, driven, motivated. She's seen you, your ups, your downs. She's seen everything, hiring, firing. She's seen you do everything. And you can't pay for that type of, you can't pay for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so whether it was the conversations or not, that's a moot point. But what she did see was it in person. Physically, she saw you grinding, so that did more for her than any conversation that you probably could have ever had, because she had a living proof of it being done and being successful. So that's amazing.
And you know what? You just said something earlier. We were saying, how do we get them to stop doing this and do that? And I think just the example, but they have to see it. They have to hear people.
They have to see it. They have to see it. It's like, I see it to believe it, type thing.
Yeah.
So when you're the living, walking, breathing proof, they can't deny that. No. They say, well, I ain't got the money. Well, I didn't have the money. Well, I'm tired. Well, I'm tired. I'm here. Well, I'm, this. People not supporting me. People not supporting me either. That's why half of 90% of my business is in another state where people don't know me. They don't know me from Tom, Dick, or Harry. So you can't complain about people not supporting you. Get on the phone and dial more, and then dial more and dial more. It's a numbers game out here in these streets. So it's like, man, so I just love it, bro. Like, I can talk about that all night, bro.
Well, most definitely. The drive and ambition, and everybody, and I say this all the time to people, everybody are truly, and I didn't invent it, it's been out, but everyone is truly gifted at something that would make them happy. You know what I'm saying? Because that's another root thing for the show. How do you find happiness? Because it's not just about money, really.
Yeah.
It's about being happy. I know homeless people that are extremely happy.
Man,
and I envy them sometimes, man, because
I gotta tell you this story. You heard about Ty Lopez? You heard of him? No. Ty Lopez? No. You never heard of Ty Lopez?
No.
Okay, well, look him up. He's like the Spanish Grant Cardone. That's the only thing I can. Yeah, he's like Grant Cardone. And Ty Lopez, he's a millionaire, and he just I was in a clubhouse room with him the other day, and he was talking about how his life, he has to get on all these planes and do all these meetings, and he has to do all these different things. He's a big investor, and he said, you know who I'm jealous of? He said, I'm jealous of one of my employees because he owns a big ranch, and he said, this guy, I pay him $70,000 a year, right? And he said, this guy don't have to pay no rent because he lives on my ranch. He maintenances my ranch, right? But he said, my ranch guy, he has a beautiful wife. He has about 3 kids. He homeschools his kids. He say they grow their own food, so they live off the land, and they work out because they're like, picking up the logs and stuff. And he said, I'm just so jealous of this guy because he looks so happy. He doesn't have to worry about the outside world. He doesn't have to be at meetings, on planes, traveling. He just has a beautiful wife that's probably not cheating on him, right?
Right,
Has
right.
beautiful kids. And so he said, guys, sometimes you look at happiness like all this other stuff, but sometimes happiness can be so simple in just what you want. You know, a beautiful wife, kids, people who love you, healthy, exercising, eating, and you can really just kind of condense a lot of what you think happiness is down to something really simple. So
Yeah.
you just kind of said the same thing, and I just had to highlight that because it was pretty much the same story you were going down.
Yeah, for me, it's really not about money, and I think that you know, Russell Simmons once said a long time. That's like the grand poobah for me, Russell Simmons. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? I love
he the
everything
OG,
about the man.
OG.
That's triple OG. You know what I'm saying? But like he says, money doesn't buy happiness. It
Mm,
does up until about $50,000 a year. You
man,
know, after that it doesn't, because once your bills are paid, you don't have to worry about how you're gonna pay rent or whatever, and your mortgage, and all that. Money doesn't really bring happiness. That's up to
no.
you after that. You know.
Man, I remember saying to myself, I can't wait to make six figures, right?
Yeah.
When I made six figures, oh man, I had realized that I had made six figures and didn't realize I made six figures.
Yeah.
I made six figures and didn't realize I made six figures. And what the kicker was, I still had the same problems. I still had the
Yes.
same stresses. I still had the same stresses and
Yeah.
problems and
Yeah.
things that were on my brain. And that's what didn't make me realize I made six figures because I thought before I made six figures, I thought when I made six figures, when I get to that point, then I won't have those stresses or problems. So I didn't realize I made six figures, and by me having those same problems and stresses and things, I'm like, that's what made me didn't think I made six figures until I did my taxes, and I'm like, I made that much?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. So it's like you're absolutely right. Money will not take away none of these other things, bro. It has to be something totally completely different. Or guess what? I'm gonna be saying, well, I can't wait to make seven figures, and I'm always putting my happiness in another milestone that is immaterial or like fictitious. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So
Exactly.
that's awesome.
I started making 100,000, and I was still living check to check, and I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand why I'm still broke on Friday, man. Looking for, and that's another key thing, is that coming from the hood, not really understanding credit and understanding different things or saving, and I always thought whatever was extra after I paid bills was for me to spend, and I'd spend it. I got this much till next Thursday, and until you start really looking and getting smarter with money, it becomes and saving. I was horrible at saving. I was always broke. It didn't
We
matter
all,
if I made 300 a week or 3,000 a week. I
we
just
all.
was ignorant to it, And but that's another thing, that
It's like the old folks say, the money burning a hole in your pocket. It's
yeah,
like that money,
yeah,
and it's like I remember that mindset. That mindset of I paid all my bills. I got $500 left. I got $500 to spend, and you
right,
think you truly gotta spend it.
yeah,
Like what is in us to make us feel like we have to spend that? And then you start getting smart and say, I really don't. I don't have to spend this.
no,
So now you see $500 a week extra, and at the end of the month you got $2,000, and you
yeah.
like mind blown, and you started getting addicted to wanting to see that grow and grow and grow or invest it. So
Yes,
that's
you
amazing.
said it right. Addicted to it. Now it's a race of how less can I spend until next week. You know what I'm saying? Well, I've got 500. I'm gonna see if I can make it on 50. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yeah, man.
yes,
But that's the mind shift, and,
yeah,
and with that mind shift, your money starts to save. Once your money is saved, you have enough in the bank to where if you do hit a bad week, you're
yeah,
okay, which will take away emotional stress, right?
yeah,
So now I
yeah,
can relax because in
hmm,
sales, it's all emotion, and you
yeah.
worrying about rent or whatever. You
Oh,
know what I'm
and they
saying?
can they can they can read that right over the
Oh
phone. They
man,
can
most
sense
definitely.
that when you desperate, they feel blood in the water. You
Yeah,
ain't getting no sale today, buddy. So you
yeah,
better relax. And now I got more money in my Robinhood app that I have, that I would think 10 years ago that I would have, in my pocket. And it's
most
like
definitely.
when you have money spread out different places, it really does allow you to be more relaxed and kind of like you say, be able to when you go to work or whatever you're doing, whether it's selling, making a beat, you can now produce from a stress free place where it's more authentic, and that's when you're in a place, that's what people call like the place of abundance. Truly,
Yeah.
it's like you're not producing from a scarcity mindset or a fight or flight mindset. You're producing from a actual abundant mindset, like I'm gonna be okay regardless. You know what I'm saying? i
Yes.
love i love being on the phone back. Just, I know we're kind of going left field, but when I'm on the phone with a client and I'm pitching and they giving me a hard time,
Yeah.
next. But before, if I need that sale, I'm kissing butt, and I'm all kind of,
Yes.
well, ma'am, I don't next. Like, and
Next.
it feels so freeing, because
Yeah.
guess what? I got that lead, just like I got that lead. I'm gonna get another lead, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? You know what's the funny part about it? When you're producing from a place of abundance, guess what? It's all a game to me. So guess what? I'm finna call that lead back tomorrow and probably sell them.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
they probably
Yeah.
just had a bad day. They probably ain't getting no butt the last night, or maybe
That's right.
who knows
That's
who
right.
knows where they're at, their
Mm-hmm.
mindset is.
Yeah.
But now, if you make it a game and you're producing from abundance, when they give you a hard time, call them back tomorrow. You might get to sell tomorrow,
Most
and and
definitely.
and, and they don't even remember that they was having a bad day yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just all about, like I said, producing from abundance or producing from scarcity. That's a whole that will turn your business completely around with that type of mindset. And I'm pretty sure you're on that mindset with your team and your
Most
staff and
definitely.
all that.
I tell them that's the laws of attraction. When you act like, don't get me wrong. This is one thing we always say. I would love to work for you. I would love to have your business, but don't get me wrong. No disrespect. I don't need your business. We're giving you an opportunity. When you treat and when you do that, the people are like, well, wait a second, because they know. And like you said, the people that are stressed out, the people that are money hungry, they're on the phones and they're begging and kissing butt and doing all of that. People know that, so you give them the power, right?
Oh yeah.
You give the power over to you, transfer that over to the person you're talking to,
Wow.
and you'll get lucky here and there.
Yeah, but no, that's not sustainable.
Yeah, but you can't survive off laydowns. You know what I'm saying?
No,
You
no.
need
Wow.
you need to be able to conquer the big beast, and that just comes from a stress-free conversation.
Absolutely.
Which the root
Absolutely.
cause is stop acting like you got to spend that $500.
Exactly.
Right, right. So the little things, like I teach the staff, manage the little things. Once you start doing certain things a certain way, everything else in your life everything changes
Wow.
for the better. It's like a
Yeah.
domino effect, man.
That's amazing.
So let me ask you. You say you still do. Do you have any? Do you have any intention on doing anything with the music other
Man,
than just
no, that would be great. I mean, honestly, I just went out and invested in the last year, well, since COVID, probably invested about $10,000 in really upgrading my studio setup. So I
Okay.
have a brand new 2020 iMac that I have here. I have like all these sounds and plugins that I went out and paid for with the intention of eventually being able to inch my way back into like some type of music production. The good thing about me is I call myself a relationship investor, and I believe you touched on it earlier. You touched on it earlier where you were saying relationships will do more for you, and just having solid relationships. And I truly believe that's my mantra, like relationships, right? So
Yeah.
I still have, believe it or not, it's just some solid relationships in the music industry. I'm still tight with a lot of people who still email me, and they're like, hey, I got this deadline coming up. I got this project coming up. Hey, you want to send me something for this or that? So anytime I feel like if I want to pull the trigger or just kind of jump back in the game, the production game, I would probably have some solid connections to get like landed on some decent projects. I was just on the phone with a record exec to this morning. He was texting me about the whole GameStop thing that's going on with the
Yeah.
because we talk about that, and he was texting me, and he said he had a session with Rihanna and some stuff, and we were kind of talking, and he said he asked me the same thing. You ever thought you want to like submit some beats for Rihanna? And I said, man, I want to get back in it, but I got to just kind of will myself to get back in it. So now
Yeah.
that's just an example of kind of like people who I'm still kind of cool with, that if I wanted to pull the trigger on something like that. But short answer, yes. Short answer, I'm 38 now, and I could be 68, I could be 78, I could be 98 on my deathbed, and God has just put in me just the will to want to be a music producer and
Yeah.
make music and get a positive message out through music. So absolutely,
Right.
bro.
Right.
I don't even understand how artists retire from something like that. I get maybe from in front of the camera, but if you're truly kind of like you, like you're 51, man. I pray that I'm 51 and still have the drive to do something in music,
Yeah.
because I don't understand how somebody can step away from themselves. Like music is me, so
It's
I could never
exactly. Yeah.
I could never step away from me. You
I
know what I'm saying?
can't.
So when people, I actually almost get offended when people ask me, "You still doing music? Are you still?"
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'm always be doing. Don't I tell them, don't ever ask me that again, okay? Because I will always, whether my music is good or whether it sucks, or I don't, it
Right.
don't even matter. I do it for me. I do it so I don't have to go blow your brains out,
Exactly,
because
man. So
murder you.
I can stay out of your house. Yeah.
It's completely therapeutic. Music keeps me from doing all type of crazy stuff. So yes, I will always be doing music.
You
Yes.
know, I thought, for years, because I had got out of music to raise my son. Like I said, I'm a single dad, and when I
Yeah.
got back into it, it was just behind the scenes with the label and everything in 2008. But like I said, man, I've jumped back and I always said, well, rapping. Well, I'm too old for this, and I got back in 2017. I did my very first album because when I
Wow.
was doing touring, it was all singles. And
Yeah.
I did my first album, man, and I got the itch because I went all out on it, man. I said, I'm gonna do an album, man, for my,
Yeah.
I forget, I was, 48 or something like that. And it wasn't for anybody else, it was for me.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I was doing music, there was no internet, so there is no digital thumbprint or
Yeah.
footprint
Footprint.
for
Yeah.
me, you know?
Yeah.
And I said, I want to put this album out. So I did an album that was really an ode to old school. So a lot of 80s themes, a lot of 90s themes. But it lit a fire under me. I said, man, listen, I put another project out the next year. Then I put out 5 projects since then with 4
Nice.
on the slate. And I'm better now, I think, than I was then.
Wow.
But I have zero expectations. I don't care if I get, plays or not.
Yeah.
But it's in the digital world.
Yeah.
At least I know maybe somebody will listen to it 10, 20 years. Oh, this okay. This brother's all right.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't
Yeah.
that amazing that we have that I love that piece that you mentioned, because I often think about that piece of it. And for us, I kind of consider myself to be like a little OG. I ain't an OG like you, but I'm like a little OG, and I kind of look at being like from a legacy standpoint. So like you said, like if these new cats don't ever listen to my music, I'm okay with that, because
Oh yeah.
guess what? My music, and kind of like I'm looking at my YouTube channel, as I put these videos up, as I put my music up on these digital footprint platforms, guess what? It's a complete time capsule. It's a
Yes.
time
Yeah.
capsule of my legacy. So
Yeah.
as my children and my grandchildren, they could be like, "Hey, go check out Grandpa, man.
Yeah.
Man, Grandpa was dope, man. Grandpa was spitting some bars. Like Grandpa
Yes.
had some beat." So I
Yes.
mean, when you kind of take it from that point perspective, it totally liberates you from any type of expectations. You can create from a freeing, liberating aspect. So I love that you touched on
Yeah,
that,
man.
bro.
Yeah. It's all, like I say, it's all passion, and not even worrying about the monetization. Monetizing on it. It's just a freedom I feel like I did when I first started when I was 15,
Yeah.
16, and just having it. And I have, if I want, I have a budget to do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like back
Absolutely.
in the days, you had to nickel up to go to the. It was $50 an hour for studio time back in the '80s because you only
Man,
had 3 studios in the city. You know what I'm saying? Everything was analog, and reel to reel and shit. So it cost a lot of money back then.
yeah.
And so now there's a lot more freedoms. Well, man, listen. I know that you're a busy man. I want to say I thank you for coming in, man. We'll
Yeah,
wrap it
no,
up
man.
and let
Yeah.
you let you get to doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But man, I appreciate it. Is there anything? Where can people find your YouTube?
Man,
Or
yeah, I'm just driving everybody to YouTube right now.
okay,
That platform, I kind of been preaching that platform lately. Like I say, I'm big on monetization and intellectual property, and like I said, I wouldn't say I'm pouring my heart into these platforms, but I definitely been present on these platforms for at least a good 10 years, like far as Facebook,
right,
Instagram, Snapchat. And one thing I'll tell these new artists and whoever business entrepreneurs coming up, man, make sure you position your intellectual property, right? Productize your intellectual property, package it in a way, right, that you can get credit for it, one, and also get paid for it. You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes,
So I said all that to say I'm on YouTube, because as of right now, YouTube for me is the only platform that has a way where you can get automated residual income off of your intellectual property. So I throw up a video about something, like whatever. I can talk about whatever I want to talk about, but if I do it in the right way, I can see ad revenue from that. So over this last year or so, I probably made $5,000, $6,000 in ad revenue just off of YouTube. So I mean, that to me, bells go off in my head. I know that's not a lot of money, but at the end of the day, if I can start to feed that beast over there, feed that machine over
oh
there,
yeah,
then
yeah,
that could be a snowball effect to where I actually have a little cousin who has a channel, and she makes $10,000 per month just off of YouTube ad revenue.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, if none of these other platforms are doing that for me, then I'm putting my energy into YouTube. So if you're looking for Eliseo, go to youtube.com/Eliseo and hit me up over there. Subscribe to my channel, and if you like watch a video, that's basically you just like put $1 in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I look at it. If you want to support anything I'm doing, find me on YouTube. And anybody you know as an artist or producer, anybody who you know is dope and putting out content, let them know, man. Go to YouTube and start building up your presence on YouTube, because even though people may think it's oversaturated, it's really not. Because I tell people all the time, the whole world is not even on the internet, believe it or not.
Right.
One of Mark Zuckerberg's goals is to get the whole world on the internet, because I think he said only about 40 to 60% of the world is on the internet.
Yeah.
So there's a whole half of world that's not even on the internet yet.
Right.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
So I mean, if we really think about the opportunity that we have here, we still have the opportunity to be the first in a lot of ways to really, like the Amazon. There's so many Amazon stories that haven't even been birthed yet for the internet.
Right.
There's so many Bitcoin stories. There's so many Uber stories of these companies that popped up and made billions overnight, seemingly, but because every new year there's going to be new opportunities for us to get new technology to new places in the world. So I mean, even with you, I'm pretty sure you're thinking about how can I take my business tech-wise to the next level. There's going to be somebody. There's going to be somebody who comes up with an idea for timeshares and things like that that's going to be different than anybody else, and they're going to blow it out the water.
Yeah.
So same with me and same with anybody. Try to think of how you can be innovative to position yourself and productize your intellectual property, your ideas, your patents, your things like that to just blow up, man. So I know I kind of get preachy, but I'm real passionate.
You're dropping gems. You know, the internet has almost made it like the wild, wild west again, in terms of things. You know, like the turn of the century with industry and all of that big boom. You know, it's kind of like that again with the internet, because it's created so many new avenues to make money, man. There's no excuse.
No,
there's no excuse for someone to be broke. There's no excuse to, you have to want to be.
It's mind-boggling. It's you said it. You have to want to be broke, and you have to try. It's funny, you know how? All right, if you think about making money and being broke, right?
Right.
You actually have to try harder to be broke than you have to try to make money.
Yeah.
Because if you tried a little bit to make money, you're gonna make money.
Right.
But if you go out of your way, be a lazy bum, have excuses, just do everything wrong, then you're not gonna make no money. But you have to try harder to be broke. So like, why would you put all that energy and effort into being broke when you can just try a little bit and make money?
I don't get
so
it.
I just love that. I tell people all the time that the internet is only. Can you believe the internet is only 20 years old?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when you were moving to Orlando, the internet was just being birthed. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you think about it, the world has been around for 2,020 years. 2,020 years, the world has been around, but the internet has only been around for 20 years of that. Right. So, I mean, you know how many people that have gone on and died wish they could be living in this time? Or put it this way, do you know how many people who are going to be born in 100 years wish they can come back and live in this time?
And that's it. I think even, 20 years from now, people are going to wish they lived in 2021. And that's how serious it is. And it's, you have millionaires overnight. Just look what they're doing. And we can't get too deep into it, but just look what they're doing with the whole GameStop thing. Look how many millionaires just got made today. You see how I forget the number, how high it went up. I mean, bro,
did you even catch? I mean, let's be real. Did you even catch that whole vibe, bro? Like, that was some historical. In the last 24 hours, we saw some historical stuff, bro.
Yeah.
And then so many millionaires were getting made. The apps said no more. The apps.
Robinhood shut it down.
What's the other one? It's a few of them that did the same thing.
Yeah.
DoorDash, or not DoorDash, but it's another one that sounds like that. They all said no more.
Yeah. Time out.
That's crazy. Y'all beat us at our own game.
But but you're seeing a lot of that, and you're seeing a lot of that, man. The people are speaking, man. The people are tired, bro.
I love that.
Be it in politics, stocks, whatever. People used to
be a thing. It used to be a thing known as insider trading.
Yeah.
But now that the internet is out, bruh, I'm in so many groups and WhatsApp chats and Telegram chats and Clubhouse rooms that, bro, soon as somebody gets a tip, the whole world knows.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens with GameStop and all these other stocks. Soon as somebody gets a small tip, they tweet it and
Yeah.
it's a wrap. So
Yeah.
ain't no more insider training. You literally, if you're catch it at the right time, you dump $10,000 into a stock, you can make $1 million
Yeah.
real
Easy.
quick.
Easy. Yeah, man. Easy. This could be a whole nother show,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it could be a whole other show,
Hey,
man. But
listen, man. I'm gonna let you cut out of here.